Everybody, hello. I think we're right on time. That's good enough for me. 6:59 and a couple of seconds over there, 7 o'clock somewhere else. You know, when I consider how bad all of the clock synchronization was in this studio, everything's pretty good right now. My mixer is about a half a minute behind, but everything else is about 7 o'clock on the nose. Maybe a little bit after, but welcome to the show, everybody. It's good to have you here on a Tuesday night. It is a hot one. Another mid-90s day, humid, really stings. But you get whatever you can done. And there's plenty of great things going on tonight. I have a little bit for us to just have some fun with, and we deserve a little bit of fun, don't we? But we need to at least follow up a little bit of what we did last night, which was a fantastic show. We had a lot of great conversation. We had a visit from the Zell brothers over the phone, and that turned into a really informative, walk through the events of the past that just make the idea that Jeffery Epstein was a singular point on a grid that connected to nothing else and could be reduced to a pervert with insatiable appetites for abuse and also seemingly limitless resources. And that's just what it is. And because of those two things, because they were super abusive and had, hundreds of millions of dollars. Was he a billionaire? Maybe. Was it all his money? Probably not. You talk about the kind of money that passes through government every day. They're talking about hundreds of billions of trillions in every other breath. How the hell is that guy staying above water? But that's what we're being told. And I came into last night's show really holding out hope that perhaps somebody can call in and say, no, Frank, you read that wrong. No, Frank, that this wasn't right. Or that piece that was published on Axios, that was, they got trolled or something like that. It's not real. And here's all the denouncements and blah, blah, blah. Nope, it was all real. As ridiculous as it was all real. And we have a little bit more to add on to it today with this really bad moment. This bad 2 minutes that happened at this press conference today. And I'll tell you, after it's all said and done, after we get through it, I really just want to have a good time and talk about just fun, stupid, weird shit. We're going to have the lines open. Comment on what you have. We already have a few voicemails that are in here, but I hope that a lot of you call in. We're going to be talking about vacations from hell. We're actually going to expand that out to include just general plumbing nightmares, plumbing disasters. Because the one vacation from hell that we're going to use to really open up the doors for conversation and for calls on this show tonight has a lot to do with plumbing. So that's what we're going to do. And I hope that you guys can get behind it, because what the hell? It's not like you haven't watched 5 hours of this coverage all day. And how many more people do you want to see express their dissatisfaction with everything? Okay, well, let's get to it, shall we? First things first, what do we bring on? Oh, that's right. Molly from Keto Brainz is calling in for 5 minutes or so in the second hour to announce the big winner from over the weekend. And that's going to be a big winner, man. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of stuff, product and all that other stuff. So that'll be in the second half. You look forward to that. What else do I have here? I have another wonderful thing to announce. I've got some really great bookings that are coming in right now. You know who I've got coming on August 14th? There's other things that we're doing. Jerry Marzinski. I know quite a few of you know who that is. That is the guy who has gone on the record to talk about psychotic voices and the spiritual aspect. The spiritual malady, he believes, is really intertwined with what most people call schizophrenia. So that's going to be on August 14th. I got that in there. We've got a psychedelic DJ coming on August 16th, moving backwards. Chris Shelton on July 31st. A Scientology guest. Really, I can't wait for that one. We're going to be interviewing some really interesting entrepreneurs from some of the sponsors of the upcoming, Quite Frankly, Jamboree. I can't wait for you to talk to Chanel from Signals. She is a biologist who threw all of her scientific knowledge into creating and study of ancestral diets into creating all of her products and stuff. Really great stuff. Jay Dyer, Timothy Gordon. We've got Saturday night specials coming up. We've got a whole bunch. Mike King from Profiling Evil. Evil is coming back. G. Edward Griffin. So much. R.J. Williams tomorrow. You're not going to want to miss that one. So yeah. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome one, welcome all. All right, here's the first thing I got for you. Real quick, I saw this, what was it? It was being put out there that the U.S. Geological Society was saying that there's quite a few tremors, hundreds of earthquakes that started, was it yesterday? No, today. I saw this a little bit earlier on in the afternoon, hundreds of earthquakes that was kind of rumbling Mount Rainier. Hold on one second. Let me put it up on the screen. Mount Rainier. A swarm of quakes hit Washington's Mount Rainier starting around 1:29 a.m., the largest since 2009 per the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network. Hundreds of tremors just today. What is waking up beneath the surface? Now, when it comes to Mount Rainier, and I don't really know the source, at Hustle Bitch. So that's who you can say. You got the news from about Mount Rainier tremors. But you know, Mount Rainier is that's the site of Kenneth Arnold's flying saucer sightings back in 1947. In fact, that was the sighting that gave birth to the term flying saucer, because I believe that he described these craft, which I think were more disc and like boomerang shaped or something like that. But he described them as moving like saucers that were gliding along the water or something like that. So they're called flying saucers from there on in. That was in June of 1947, which was a very interesting summer. You have the national security state that had just been created. The NSA, the Air Force gets its own branch. I mean, there's a lot of things that are going on that created the military-industrial complex that we have today. 1947 is a very interesting year. And of course, only a couple of days later, in fact, I think today, hold on, is today the Roswell crash date? 1947, what day is it? July 8th. July 8th. FBI Dallas field office sent a teletype regarding a flying disc that resembled a high-altitude weather balloon found near Roswell, New Mexico, July 8th, 1947. That's today. That was the summer of the saucers, 1947. So I don't know. What does it mean? Well, I think that Rainier is what they say is a dormant volcano or something. So who knows what's going on beneath it seismically. But whenever I hear something strange is going on up near those ranges, the first thing I think about is what might be rumbling around inside of them. You just never know. You can't tell. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you found yourself an acceptably comfortable seat. Sit back, relax, and enjoy whatever the show you can. And make sure that you have a bathroom near you. That's all I'm going to say. We will be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, guys. I'm very excited.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!
There was nothing worse than being abused by this same system and not having known it and actually trusting it at that point. At least we're not there anymore. You know what I mean? Jelly bean. Okay, so here's the headline. My producer Krista sent this to me. I thought it was funny. From the Babylon Bee. Headline, Pam Bondi explains she was going to release the Epstein files, but then some pedophiles asked her not to. You know, it really doesn't get much more complex than that, does it? Does it? But here's what it comes down to, because this is all parody on today's press conference, and somebody in the they don't have the actual question in this video clip. Somebody there in the press corps asked Pam Bondi about Jeffrey Epstein, and immediately, and this is where it gets bad, really bad, because Pam Bondi, she was like a consolation prize, and a soggy one at that, after we were all teased with a Matt Gaetz, a Matt Gaetz attorney general pick. She's a soggy consolation prize. And I didn't really have that much hope, but you can't throw it all away before it starts. Anyway, before she's even able to answer the question, Donald Trump puts in his 2 cents, and I take a listen.
Yeah, sure. If
Hey, Pam, could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this, where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
As always, I would love anybody to put a smiley face on this one, at least in Tem 2. So, Frank, you missed something. No, another angle's being worked here. Go ahead. I think everybody would love to hear what you've come up with. I'm generally curious. This is astonishing and very rough to listen to. It's awful, to be honest. And it's not going over very well, too. We can read through the comments on this particular upload from the Right Side Broadcasting Network on YouTube, and it is overwhelmingly negative. Overwhelming. There is no 5D chess stuff going on here. I do not believe that all of the comments are bots. I don't think that this is some AstroTurf job. What is there to be understood, or what has been misunderstood about what we just heard? We're going to listen to Pam Bondi's explanation, which is dog shit. But what the hell was that about? And, I know there's that term, panicans. I see people like Cat Turd out there saying, don't be a panican. I don't know what the hell that is. I don't give a shit. I'm not panicking. I'm just watching. And I'll tell you something. Anybody who is really disgusted by this, They aren't panicans. Any sort of economic, this is what we wanted. Any sort of economic relief, which included mass deportations. That's part of the economic relief plan. Ending wars and legal retribution is why he was elected. He's running on revenge. Everyone's like, yes, we are. I mean, it would be great to see Donald Trump go out there and get sweet revenge from the people who have turned the judicial system completely on its head. Obviously, it was always slanted. It was always going to be able to there to protect special interests. But the mask is gone over the last 4 years. They went, and even more than that, because the entire time that he was in office, the first time they were going after him. So I would love to see somebody get rung up here. But no. Hillary Clinton got protected because it would have been unseemly, unsightly to have a former first lady get charged. But I was thinking this time would be great. It would be. I thought that the wheels of justice would move a little bit quicker on who was going to be brought down because of what was done to us during all the COVID stuff, the civil rights stuff. A lot of people, there's millions of people out there who said, okay, you know what? We're on completely different pages, completely different books. When it comes to warp speed and what, the reasons for why things had to be done the way they were, there's a lot of people said, let's not even talk about that because we're not going to have any common ground. And still, they voted because we were hoping for legal retribution for what was done to us on a civil rights level, what was done to us under the emergency use authorization nonsense, all of the phony science that was pushed out by the Fauci crew, all that stuff. We were hoping for that, and then I mean, on top of that, there was just what happened during last campaign season. That would be interesting. I would be hell bent on flipping the Secret Service up on its head as soon as I got in there. Say, who tried to kill me? Get to the bottom of this. Dump it all out on the table. Maybe you voted for other things, but I know that legal retribution was a high hope. We know we've never gotten it before. We were hoping maybe this time would be different because for Pete's sake, his life was almost taken a couple of times just in trying to run. Economic relief, whatever form that comes in, fine. Ending wars, maybe that'll happen too. But legal retribution, and for this to happen, for these statements to be made, is really fucking. I don't know, man. I don't know. Not for nothing. Just to say, you're still talking about Epstein. Still, what? How is it irrelevant? Anyway, let's keep listening.
Sure. First, to back up on that, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I said I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that. Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffery Epstein.
It was downloaded. Was there anybody in the videos that weren't children? Anybody? That's number one. Or are you saying that he was just on the dark web? Downloading, just prolific downloader? That's what we're getting now?
Child porn is what they were. Never going to be released, never going to see the light of day.
Nobody wants to see it. Nobody wants to see that.
To him being an agent, I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that. And the minute
they're going to get back to us on whether or not he's an agent for the federal government. I mean, we know that he was providing information to the FBI. We know that. That's in those files. We've seen that before. He was giving information on white-collar crime. He was trading information on white-collar crime that was going on Wall Street to the FBI.
Missing from the video. We released the video showing definitively.
Now listen to this. Definitively.
The video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide.
The video wasn't conclusive. She backtracked. She didn't want to use the word definitively because she knows that the whole damn thing is nonsense. The video wasn't conclusive, but there was another video.
Definitively, the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide.
The evidence prior to the video that wasn't conclusive was conclusive about his committing suicide. And again, trust me, bro, is the source.
And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night. And
1 minute is missing every night. Think about the timing there. Kill yourself. Okay, well, the minute's coming up. I'll just kill myself then. I want this. You know what? If I'm going to kill myself, I want everybody to become. I want them to have mystery on their hands. This is what happened today. And Trump is sitting there wriggling around, obviously annoyed that they have to take even 2 minutes out to address this, which is this was awful. This was awful. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not panicking. Just what it is. Not good. Very puzzling stuff. And I see people continuing to single Pam Bondi out. To single her out. Now, she is a mess, but the president isn't pushing back, isn't showing an iota of curiosity, and then to wrist slap like that, as if the Sunday memo should have been satisfying enough. A memo leak on a Sunday to Axios should have been satisfying enough. Hey, you got that on Sunday afternoon. Did you? What questions? What's there to ask? You got the memo, didn't you? On a Sunday. And by the way, the memo was squeaked out at the height of the search and rescue operations over there in Texas during that tragedy in Kerrville. Want to talk about desecration? What was the purpose of the timing there? I think that was more of a desecration, whatever the hell was asked at the press conference. People are completely beside themselves. What the hell that could even mean? Like, what was phase 2 going to be? What was phase 2? After that ridiculous bullshit that was phase 1 and all of the binders and Jack Posobiec and the libs from TikTok, everybody, with their trophy fish in front of the White House. What an embarrassing day. What the hell was phase 2 going to be? The memo? Was that phase 2? God. Oh, God. It really leaves a bad taste in my mouth. What do you want? You want to talk about this for 2 hours? Just ridiculous. Here, there's a little bit more. This was from, I think, Sunday, around the time that they put out all the memos and stuff like that. This is breaking 911 by way of the Justice Department put out, 10 hours long surveillance footage, they say, proves no one entered Jeffrey Epstein's cell prior to his death, which is not even exactly what we're looking at here, apparently. It's not his cell. It's only like a sliver of a staircase that leads to the wing of the prison where Epstein's cell was. That's what I've learned from this stuff. And people have taken this footage right here, this 18 seconds. They've created incredible memes with it. Incredible memes. There's people just, walking around, shuffling around, whatever. What's this one? DOJ footage shows cell 46, not 220. This isn't Epstein's cell. It's cell 46, unrelated to cell 220. There's plenty of people who have pointed that out. And then, of course, here's some of the memes. There's Hillary Clinton waiting outside of the door. I love this because all the Hillary Clinton memes, first of all, the AI generates her posture perfectly and her profile just perfectly. And I love this Michael Myers demeanor that she has. I love how she is like personally invested in taking this man's life. This is not going to be put off on some operator here. This job is not going to be given to anybody else. She is personally going to take care of it. And she's not even going to remove her Chairman Mao pantsuit either. She is going to take care of it herself. I love it. I love it. Here's one thing that came in last night. And I got to say, I still have hope. I'll hold on to a very faint, storybook kind of hope that, we got you. But then again, if you're in charge and all of your people are in the right place and you trust those people, then why do you have to do a bait and switch? Why smoke and mirrors nonsense? You just go for it. It's obvious that this is just forget about Epstein. Move on. It was a long time ago. All right? Not as long as the JFK assassination, of course, but forget about that as well. Not as long as, I don't know, you name it. You name it. Oh boy. Here's one. Here's real quick before we move on. This is a wild theory from my friend Jans. And Jans, who's from overseas, says, what if because he was talking about Ehud Barak, former prime minister of Israel, who was apparently, very chummy with Jeffrey Epstein. What if he and Mossad and Bibi sit on a dead man switch? This is a really wild theory. But wild theories are all that's left. With a bunch of tactical nukes, this is a nuclear situation. That's secret and accounted for. Unaccounted for, I mean the entire nuclear program stockpile of Israel is shrouded in secrecy, right? Yes. Apparently they're only supposed to have what? One? None? Some people say they have as much as 100. Let's assume that they have 10 to 20, maybe even 50 tactical nukes placed all around the world, skillfully moved around during a long period of time by prominent arms dealers and, who knows, Khashoggi and accomplices. Possibly even several hidden in the U.S. New Jersey drones in December 2024, perhaps, and let's say Paris, London, Riyadh, Tokyo, Sydney, etc., everywhere. Meaning, if the list goes public, the dead man switch activates. There's even a publicly known term that even I, as a single internet user in Sweden, are aware of, the Samson option. That's a good reason for Cash, Bongino, and Trump to behave this way. But like I said, it's a wild theory, and I'm sure that there's some holes in it because I haven't seen anyone else floating it, and I'm just a random nobody with a wild fantasy who likes to follow news on the internet. Aren't we all, Johns? How about floating that question on air, since we are all clueless and shocked about what happened yesterday and absolutely nothing makes sense? Well, this obviously, I can imagine his disbelief when he woke up and he heard this shit. Then again, he was already awake. He's probably about to go to sleep when this all happened. Take the question to the public. What in our wildest fantasies could be the reason that they all behave like this, since they all know it's going to be enormous backlash, both personal for the careers of Cash and Bongino, and probably politically in the future polling for Trump, whose base largely voted for him to get people held accountable for abuses and connections with Epstein especially, and yet they go ahead doing this even though we all know it's nonsense, but they still do it. Yeah. So there you go. Just some wild and probably delusional speculations, but I had to share it. Jay. So what do you guys got on that one? I don't know, but I had to just throw this out, and who wanted to talk about this all the time? I'm going to take a quick a really quick break to just divide then and now. When we come back, we're going to go and we're going to jump into the... Actually, no, I'm going to open up the lines. How about this? I'm going to open up the lines. Let's do this for a couple of minutes. 914-200-0269. I'm going to open up the lines for 10 minutes, and then we will put a divider on it. Because I just want to get people's reactions, just a couple of reactions. I just want to see if it lines up with everything I've seen in every comment section. There are either very few people who are taking a positive stance on this, and those who are just loyal, maybe sometimes to a fault, to the president, have even had to find a way to be critical of this. And I believe that the way that they have done that is by focusing all of their issues with Pam Bondi, who is a mess. But this is come on, between Bondi, Bongino, and Cash, and now the wrist slapping that we just saw with Donald Trump this morning. I mean, come on. Not an iota of curiosity there. Hot Legs, you're the first one on. What's going on?
How are you doing, Frank?
I'm doing great, and I can't wait to see you at the Jamboree.
I can't wait to be there. I hope I'm okay. I'm talking in D.C. on my phone while driving. So
you sound fine. Go ahead.
What I think happened is I think somebody came into these people's offices in D.C. and shot them with a poison blow dart. They passed out. They woke up arranged with several children naked around them with flash bulbs going off from phones. I think that's what happens with this blackmail shit, and then they're all stuck.
I think you might be onto something. You know what? I want only the most outrageous theories from here on in tonight.
You think that's outrageous? I think it perfectly makes sense. They've been drugged, and they wake up and they're compromised.
Oh no! I don't think it's unbelievable. I just think it's outrageous. I mean,
yes.
Isn't that essentially that's essentially how the Corleone family bought themselves a senator in Godfather 2, right?
It's Occam's razor to me.
Yeah. No, but anyway, okay. Well, Hot Legs, anything else you got for us?
No, I'm good. Have a good night.
Well, thank you so much. Good to hear from you. Oh, wait. We're talking about vacation horror stories and plumbing disasters and all that stuff. Are you gonna? Do you have anything that you're gonna call back with?
I have a vacation story real quick if you want to hear it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Went to Europe 1 year with my son when he was young and going to meet a friend in Italy after that. And I had my wallet stolen while I was trying to light a candle in Sacré-Cœur, the cathedral.
Mm-hmm.
So a band of little roving thieves came around and stole my wallet out of my purse. So I still had my passport, but I had no wallet and no way that I was going to be able to do anything in Italy. So anyways, I got to Italy, transferred money over the phone into my son's bank account because he had his debit card. And then we tried to tour Italy. I couldn't get a rental car, tore my shoulder in a local bus on the Amalfi Coast. And when finally my friend arrived and we took another bus back to pick him up from the airport and he could rent a car, then my son spent the rest of the vacation telling me what I could and could not buy with my own money on his debit card.
He was managing the purse strings at that point.
Yes.
Oh,
you don't really need that purse, Mommy, do you?
Oh my gosh! You know what? That's good. Hopefully, he's still that conservative. That's great.
He is.
Well, thank you for that. You kicked it off in style.
Okay.
All right.
Care.
Take care. See you a little bit. All right. Let's just take some calls. Let me see. 845. You're on the air. Go ahead, real quick.
Hey, Frankie. Okay. So let me just turn this off. Sorry. Hold on. Darn it. Okay. Got it.
You got it.
So I'm going to be Donald Trump for a second. I want to let you guys understand that caring about Jeffrey Epstein is poor people shit. You people have been whacking off to gangbang pornography for the last 25 years. You're all disgusting. You know you're disgusting. We're going to release your internet fucking files. It's poor people shit. You know, if you could afford it, you would bang fucking 18-year-old girls all day long, you fucking pigs. Okay, I'm done. Sorry.
Oh, well, I don't know if he went I can hear the indictment that you're putting out there, and thank you for the call. I can see the indictment on what on how there is an unspoken. I guess there is data on it, an unspoken epidemic on just where we are as a culture and the porn and all that stuff. And I'm sure it would be just from a basic privacy standpoint, a absolute nightmare if all the data that's been collected on people, text messages and search engines, whatever the hell they've watched over the last 25 years is just all splayed out there, and you can just put somebody's name in and see everything that they've done in the last 30 years. That would be a nightmare for everybody. Everybody. Absolutely everybody. And of course, some people, that's just it. But as far as that whole thing about if you had the money, you would buy an 18-year-old, no. Nope. No, I don't think so. That's not poor people shit. I don't think there's poor people out there wondering when they're going to be able to get that kind of access. No, on that account. Let's see here. 440, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Frank, this is Andra. How you doing? Cobalt Cat.
Oh, Cobalt, it's good to hear from you. I'm doing all right. I just wanted to get this out of the way because it's unavoidably interesting news that it just tags on to what we did last night, and I just want your reaction.
Yeah, I mean, my reaction is it's just kind of ridiculous. I mean, like everyone's saying, it's like, whoa, the rug has been pulled out from underneath us, and I just feel like I was slapped in the face with a wet noodle, and it's just interesting to me how all of this can be, oh, okay, nothing to it. We're done. That's it. So I just think there's something weird there. That's pretty much all I have. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm open for any alternate theories here, but I think that you are representing a resounding majority of people, because it's just, again, how was this news broken? By accident, they say, a leak on a Sunday afternoon, and then by Tuesday early afternoon, we were supposed to have already accepted it as truth, and how dare you even bring it up again? Stop wasting our time. It was the wrist slapping aspect of the whole press conference that I was truly astonished by.
Yeah. So was I. And just real quick before I go, I know you were going to talk about the poop cruise and the worst vacations. Do I have time to just tell a quick story so I don't have to call in again?
Yeah, go ahead, real quick.
Okay, so years ago, I worked at a summer camp, and this was back in 2003, and this was on a session where it was just the counselors. We had a break in between campers, and it rained really, really hard, and we went up to the field, big field, we do field games, and it was, we decided to go mudsliding, and it was so much fun, and everybody was just having a great time. We get done, we go back down to all take a shower, and we find out that the well, because there were so many counselors taking showers at once, just stopped working. So we were like, oh my gosh, what to do? But the funniest thing I remember is my friend, she's covered from head to toe, has curly hair, mud's all in her hair, mud's everywhere. And the only thing she says is, oh shoot, I've got mud in my ears. And to me, it was funnier at the time, but I just thought it was pretty hilarious that, that's the only place that she was worried about having mud. Not that she had to sit there and it's drying in her hair and we had to wait to. So that was pretty hilarious. And that's pretty much all I have. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in September.
Oh, this is going to be wonderful. This is really going to be wonderful. And thanks again for the call. Mud in the ears. You start realizing that it's all plugged up. The VIP, all VIP is sold out. The VIP tickets are sold out. We still got a few dozen left for the main event, and I'll read off some of the names. They're going to be here already, but I'm so excited for it. Let's see here. 937, you're on the air. Give us some reaction.
Hey, wow. I didn't expect you to pick up.
Hello.
Okay. Hello.
I hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Welcome to the show.
Okay. I'm calling about Trump and Bondi.
Yes, go ahead.
And all of them. I think it's all a farce. I'm just sitting back and watching and waiting because there's something, excuse excuse me, the way Trump said, the guy, the weirdo, that's not Trump. He doesn't talk like that.
The creep, he said.
The creep, yeah. However he said it. Yeah, it was, something's off, but I think something's going to blow here. I don't think it's what they're telling us.
Well, if they have to do something that is a little bit more concealed and then blow off a big powder keg of, headlines and scandal and mass arrests and all that. I mean, hey, I think a lot of us will say, "Oh, I see what the game plan was there right now." There's no as of right now, and thank you for the call. There's no other reaction than, "Wow, well, this is a slap in the face." Now, I'm not going to have a full-blown meltdown. I'm just going to go about my life as always, doing my show, trying to bring you guys something to look forward to every night, and we will continue to call balls and strikes because there's still, even after days like this, the last couple of days, there's still more opportunity for something that's going to benefit us versus what it would have been the other way around. But this, right now, I mean, I don't know. Especially when you think back to 2015, 2016, the comments that Trump made publicly about the problems that people like the Clintons were going to have because of what was going on at that island and all the trips that they were taking out there. To say you're still talking about this creep as if that's just what it was, that he was like what, some molesty mime, like he was some handsy street performer in Times Square that finally got caught with his hand up somebody's skirt or something like that. You're talking about somebody that Donald Trump had volunteered information on to attorneys like Brad Edwards years ago when everybody else was too afraid to do anything. He's banning this guy from his from Mar-a-Lago. He's volunteering information to attorneys. He knows all about the Clintons and definitely knows about more than just the Clintons at that point. How can this ever just be just some creep? Like that's where the story ended. So, somewhere deep inside, you got to say, well, he can't expect us to forget all that. So maybe this is some kind of an act. And that's just where you got to leave it. That's just where you got to leave it, because what else are you going to get? All got our wrists slapped. 304, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, bud, how's the audio? You hear me okay?
You're a little bit distant. Are you on Bluetooth or something?
Oh, I'm going to turn you off. There we go.
A
Is
lot
that better?
Oh, that's crystal clear. Go ahead.
Awesome. I kind of have this sneaking suspicion we got captured in all the AI stuff maybe like a decade or so ago. Perhaps all these are just like CGI or however they're generating these interviews or not interviews, but their little sit and talk stuff and these articles and footages and everything, I think.
So you think about it, about 10 years ago is when we crossed the high water mark, about where that threshold, I should say, where AI started substituting real events for whatever kind of prompted simulations, and that almost everything that we've been getting has been nonsense.
I'd say pretty difficult, especially from our standpoint to pin down when exactly, but we do know it's been on for a lot longer than the supposed last 3-year rollout or whatever. But perhaps it also has something to tie in with why Trump decided to start his own social media platform. I'm still kind of trying to wrap my head around some of that. I don't think it was just to get himself past being shut down on the other one, but I don't know. Just been mulling it over.
Well, you know what? I will say the one thing that we can look forward to is somebody out there is not. It's not even just a matter about having balls. It's about somebody out there is going. And thanks for the call, Michael. Somebody out there is going to have to ask follow-up question. There is no way in hell that what transpired today at that press conference is the last time Donald Trump is going to be prompted this question. And there's no way in hell any of his advisors who are plugged into what is going on the internet and are checking out polls and are checking out opinions are not going to, and haven't already told him, you're getting killed right now. You're getting killed right now. Some people are killing Pam more than because they don't want to come down on you, but there's no excuses for what will happen to you, and you have to be prepared for follow-up questions. So I can't wait to see what the follow-up questions are, who asks them. It's going to be good, but I don't think that we're going to get much more. I really don't. This looks like a room full of people who have a common understanding about what's happening. I don't know. Let's take a call from Katie in Texas. Go ahead, Katie.
Hey, Frank. Hey, everyone. This is my positive spin on the Epstein debacle today. So I have to say, okay, I don't know if you remember this, but a few months ago I called in talking about how I had reunited with a friend that, I had a falling out with a few years ago over politics, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were going to go to lunch, and of course we never did because it was just too tumultuous, right? And so today I had to eat my humble pie and leave him a voice note regarding what happened today. And it just started out with, so you were right regarding the Trump and Epstein case or situation. And I just think it's a good way for us all to come together, at least both sides, if you will, to come together, because it's just business as usual. We all got screwed, and
well, Katie,
we're never all gonna. Oh, go ahead.
Katie, what exactly was your friend right about?
Oh, well, when he was like seething at the mouth and cussing and yelling at me a few months ago about our differences in politics, he was just saying that, Trump is like, obviously, to him, obviously this evil person who doesn't care about us. And he said that two things. He said, well, they're definitely not going to investigate the Pentagon, when we were talking about them looking into USAID or whatever you said. And then he said, and, you really think he's going to, reveal anything on the Epstein client list or anything about that at all? And I was like, no, trust me, it's on Pam Bondi's desk. They're looking into it right now. So I had to eat my humble pie today. But, happily so. I mean, it's unfortunate, but at least it's something we can all come together on. And then, if we go to the other side or people that feel differently than we do and we admit that we were wrong and we got led down the garden path, then, maybe they can too, when inevitably it happens to them, like tomorrow or, next week and over. So at least we on something.
Yeah, I suppose, and that is of course, if there is any real desire to know more about something like what the Jeffrey Epstein operation was about, because it's not the obsession about one man in the Caribbean who was doing his thing and was a monster in that respect personally, but it was about an operation that is very widespread, and we can see that it's been duplicated in many places, and to the same degree. And that's what I think. And Katie, thanks again for the voicemails, because I have two voicemails that you sent me for Vacations from Hell, so I'll be playing those in a little bit too.
Hey, no problem.
All right, well, have a good night. Thank you so much. It's interest in the topic that I ultimately hope everybody starts having. Say, well, Trump is not going to give it to you. He's not going to give it to you. Okay, so does that mean that you want to see it too? Does that mean that's what you have? That's where you have to open up the door. It's not about whether or not one guy, because we're talking about this, the president, even in its imperial state. The American presidency has been an imperial post for over 100 years. It has powers that are ungodly and unconstitutional and should not exist, and do not exist in the eyes of the law, just in the eyes of progressive tradition. But outside of that, do you want to see the list? Or do you want to know any information? Do you want to see known associates? Do you want to know anything about what was captured and put together in Operation Leap Year? And why do you want to see it? So some people you're going to have to kind of, get through the rat's nest of political. Well, I want to see who's whatever. And you realize it's all political motivations. I want to see if Donald Trump's on it. It's like, okay, All right. Let's get deeper than that. What was this about? You think that if some billionaire really wanted to bring in, call girls of any age, they have to go to just one guy, and it's got to be in one island, and it's it's not about, again, like I said last night, calling Jeffrey Epstein, who is the child abuse version of your local weed dealer. I said, hey, we got some haze, we've got some runts, and we got some OG Kush here and all that. So yeah, I'll take an ounce of that and a quarter ounce of that, and whatever. That's not what's going on here. This is a very large operation that is not only about influence peddling and blackmail, but gun running, weapons dealing. It's a very big thing going on here. So that's an interesting question. Okay, but do you want to see it, and why? Do you understand what people are really excited about here? What people are really feel urgent about? That this is world-changing information. This is not just something that people think is going to be a way to take down the DNC or anything like that. This is world-changing information because this speaks directly to the way that the world is structured hierarchically. At least the occult world, the world that we don't see, that's been hidden, that's standing behind all of our civic governments and all of our, our traditions and our Memorial Day parades and our 4th of July barbecues and all that other stuff. The occult world is what we're talking about. Trying to drill ourselves away into that world. But people don't, it's very hard for people to get past that because if along the way they lose any kind of face, if they lose any face along the way with their party heroes, it's just, that is too much for some people to bear. They don't want to hear about it. They don't want to hear about it. I don't care about justice as long as I can get to come out of this smelling at least like not a peach, not a rose, but maybe some dried dog shit that doesn't have a stink anymore. Can I come out of this smelling like dried dog shit at least? It's like, let go, man. All right, let's take one more call. Michael, what's going on?
Oh, Frank, I'm glad to talk to you, man.
Good to have you on.
Yeah, I didn't know if you had moved on from the topic yet because I'm trying to call. But, when I think about it, I'm not too surprised that even Trump, I still am a big kind of gung-ho. I'm so glad we have Trump. But, there's a psalm that says, do not put your trust in princes, in men, human beings who cannot save. Any human being we meet these days is going to let us down in some way. And so I think they got caught up in some or other kind of blackmail, I imagine.
I don't know, Michael. I guess that's just one other place where we all have to speculate, and some people's theories are going to be more sound than others. But I'm with you on that one. And despite all the disappointment and confusion of this very young week, I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I still know that we're in a better position than we would have been if we took the fork in the road and we went down the other path. I mean, maybe
I totally agree with you on that. And I also thought the previous caller had a good point about, this is a time when we can kind of eat a little humble pie and go to our friends and say, look, or, I've noticed that. I posted a meme about this today about how silly it looks. Looks to me like the administration is being pretty silly about this. And that will be on the record that I can take a shot at my own people when I think they're wrong.
Yeah, and you know what? And I think anybody that has any real honest, good faith intentions to talk to you about something and just want to, can see someone like you is disarmed, and you're really pondering what's going on. Perhaps there are some good faith conversations that'll come your way. And thank you for calling, Michael. But there are also just a lot of people out there who are Occam's razor. It's going to be, why are you confused by this? It's obvious he was in there. That you're going to get a thick wall of that kind of retardation. And of course, you have to just kind of, give them the pat on the head and go elsewhere. And that's that. All right, let's take one more call before we hit the break, and then we're going to come back with Vacations from Hell, the second hour. That's going to be nice. Let's see here. Kelly, go ahead.
Just my 2 cents about the Epstein thing.
Okay.
What if it's not Epstein, and what if it's Ghislaine Maxwell that has it? What if she's the puppet, the handler, and he's the puppet, and that's why they're just putting things on the back burner? I don't know. They're sure riling some feathers, and I wish it wasn't, but things are never as they seem. In this whole thing, they were not as they seem.
Right. That's something.
So, perhaps it is Ghislaine Maxwell that it was the handler, and she's the one that has the list. She's the one that has everything, and she's still in prison.
Well, she
relax, maybe.
Yeah, maybe she is a lot. I think she is a central figure in all this. And thanks for the call. She is a central figure. She's the only one that went to jail. Well, but I don't know. I think if there was a little bit more to that, where they already had the perp, and they say, well, listen, Ghislaine Maxwell was the mastermind, and it wouldn't be left off like this. I don't think. If it was like that, I don't think it would be left off in this kind of a stop asking about it. It's over. Because remember, there's no list. He wasn't collecting blackmail, and he killed himself. So if that's the case, then again, the only question about Ghislaine Maxwell that most people have is just, all right, who was she procuring people for? What was that all about? Who was she getting human resources? Who was she collecting young humans for in such a transactional way? Even if it's just like, hey, I'm putting $10,000 in your account, Jeffrey. Thanks again, weed man. No, it's more like, hey, well, it's just amenities. It's just a group of people who operate a certain way. They know each other's proclivities. They play to them, and they, when they vacation, they make sure that there are plenty of amenities, and human beings are amenities for some others. But one way or another, who is she providing these people for? Last time we had Jason Burmis on the show, we were talking specifically about this. He was bringing up what people continue to forget about, especially when it came to Prince Andrew, that this guy was a world-class arms dealer. That's just, this is these are the types of transactions that were going on there. It wasn't really about human beings. That was thrown into this is how these people like to party, of course, for sure. But they were dealing in missiles and I don't know. That's the crazy thing. And I don't, if that was really part of the reason why, I think that we would have gotten a little bit more than what transpired today, or what was in that memo on Sunday, that, hey, something else is forthcoming. And of course they could have said everything was destroyed, but nothing. If this is all that there is, they are forcing Dan Bongino and Kash Patel to take a walk of shame. I don't understand how they're going along with that. I don't understand how they're going along with that. They all have intelligence that predates their time in the FBI the last 6 months. They all have intelligence. They've all had people in the media, people on the inside that have come to them. They have been on the inside in the past themselves. So, after this week, what the hell is there? If there's nothing new officially, then there's only ever going to be our theories. And you never know what else. You never know what else is going to come through. All right, let's open up the lines on the other side of the break, because I want to have some fun, and the last hour should be some good stuff. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. I got plenty of super chats that are coming in, quite frankly, superchat.com. In about 35 minutes or so, we're going to call up Molly to see which one of you won like $400 worth of stuff from the Independence Day sale on ketobrains.com. So there's a lot coming your way. Don't go anywhere. Vacations from hell.
Assholes! In the words of my generation, up
With a couple of songs on the drums, I'll just pick them out and we'll have some fun with them. And that'll all be on quitefrankly.tv. We do that every other Wednesday. Have some fun with that. Get the drum start back into the mix. It's starting in August. All of our Saturday specials are going to be on quitefrankly.tv as well. I wanted that to be a little bit more homey, especially since we're going to have. There's always a family and friends element to it. I like that. I just wanted to be on the website, create a little bit of a cozy exclusivity there, since the stuff with Rumble hasn't really panned out. Hey, you know what? Whatever. Make your own breaks. We'll figure something out. Something the dam will break one day, hopefully. And let's see. Let's get into your super chats. First one up is from Katie in Texas. She just called in. Hi, Frank. The lefties I know feel the same way about uncovering the Epstein operation and everything behind it as we do. To that depth? Well, that's nice. I just don't understand how anybody from the farther left progressive standpoint, because of course Republicans mostly are progressives, just a little bit more of a diet variety. They still revere their institutions, and they revere all the things and all the safety nets and all the major New Deal FDR programs and stuff like that. So I want it for somebody who goes so much farther to the left. How any kind of a dive into that and knowing what you're looking for would ever make you want to keep this apparatus in place when you just see what it becomes infested with and where all of our money really goes, and how decisions around the world and here at home are really made, and what kind of pressure, where the real pressure to act comes from. It's not coming from how constituents vote. You know, we have our traditions. They allow us our traditions to a certain degree. But even when we get one we think we want, how hard is it to really turn the ship? How small is the rudder? So I don't understand how anybody could have any honest inquiries into something like a Jeffrey Epstein or anything like that and still be, ardently progressive liberal at the end of it. Like, what shouldn't this be one of the greatest inspirations to figure out how to dismantle this? Come to the right, okay? Help destroy the Republican and the Democrat, the progressive parties, please. Come to the real right. That way. But I know that takes a while. Takes a while. Incrementalism. That's what got us here, right? Jay Britt says, Babylon Bee headline, there is no Epstein client list, says Epstein clients. Great show tonight, Frank. Thank you, Jay. It's great to hear from you. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Road Trip says, I am now seriously considering Trump was duped by Epstein, even slightly in the late 80s, early 90s, and everything from 2015 forward has been an operation through today to clear away that entire Mossad CIA operation. Crazy times. In what way? I need a little bit more on that, Road Trip, but I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Quite frankly, superchat.com. There is the Rumble rants and the YouTube supers. By all means, please send some through. Give me your thoughts. Let me know what's up. Over on Rumble, Jay Semo says, my wife tried to call in tonight. She's hot on this stuff. Not sure what she was going to say. Phew. Well, now I want to know. Haywood says, I thought about meeting you in September, but Me being that close to DC and all of our friends would probably not be a healthy choice. That's 4.5 hours south. Grandma Grateful says, government same as always, pissing on our heads and telling us it's raining. There's some wisdom from Grandma right there. Haywood again says, when Dems see POTUS dismissing the Epstein question, they'll think he's hiding his involvement and press harder for information and more transparency. Yeah. Like I said, that'll be a natural knee-jerk reaction. How hard they will press, I don't know. I think, of course, all of the calls for Democrat voters to press people into figuring out what exactly happened. What exactly happened with the 2024 elections? Where, I mean, if what was if what we had witnessed in 2020 was true in any way, shape, or form, would there ever be a scenario where Republicans ever won an election again, let alone the popular vote? You know, so when they saw all of those extra votes go away by the millions, nearly 10, if not eclipsing 10 million, then you would. That's where the clamoring came from. Well, we need an investigation into this. Anybody lift a finger? No. They rode a social media wave for a little bit. They made some jokes. They stoked a little bit of curiosity into the potential involvement of Elon Musk deleting votes and what Starlink was doing during the election night and all that stuff. And they allowed people to have their theories and their question marks. They like seeing the dissent and the general distrust of everything like that. But there's no way in hell they were going to investigate. There's no way in hell they're going to investigate. Same thing's going to happen with this. They will like that people will suddenly, and maybe even some of Trump's voters in 2024 will suddenly think, oh man, is he really in there? They might think what Elon Musk tweeted weeks ago and all that stuff and think, well, maybe this is the mark of a guy who feels guilty and wants to hide from whatever's in there. And maybe we should, there's no way that this is going to trigger an actual investigation just because Democrats are behind it. No way in hell. But they like when everybody has their theories, and they like when those theories are really reptilian brain level shit, where it's just about party politics and not much deeper than that. So that's a good place for us to be in, placed in orbit. That's where they like us hanging out. So thank you for all the Rumble rants, and we'll take some more on that a little bit later. And then one over here. Let me see what's going on quitefrankly.tv. Raising Cain, thank you so much for the gold pills, my friend. And Braves Piano, you as well. I have something from... Where the hell is it? Where the hell... The second half of the show. Second half. Oh, here we go. Oh, I have a couple more things here from Andrew, from Big Tane out there. Andrew said, this is from yesterday. Frank, I just wanted to shout out my wife, Holly, and I celebrating 18 years of marriage on the 7th. That was yesterday. We got hitched on July 7th, 2007. We were 20 years old. You know what's crazy? While you were getting hitched, me, Anthony, and Mike, and my Uncle Rob, actually, we hitched a train down to Washington Square Park, where there was a YouTube meetup. YouTube was 2 years old, of course. The day of the sevens, we went down to Washington Square Park, and we got to meet some really popular YouTubers at the time in those first 2 years. I didn't really recognize anybody, but as we were just walking around, we wanted to be there because, the show, we were uploading stuff to YouTube and things like that. But, all of our live broadcasting was being done on Live 365 and other places. We were still on purely audio. But it was on that day, July 7th, 2007, that we saw this one guy walking around at this YouTube meetup at Washington Square Park. And he had a big, heavy backpack on. He was a bigger guy, but he had a big, heavy backpack on that was filled with laptops and several wireless connection cards. There's a Verizon in there. There's an AT&T. There's like 3 different things that were pumping in cell signal from all these sources. That was on his back and there was a wire coming out of the top of the book bag, and was fixed right to the bill of his cap, and there was a webcam. I went up to him. I said, "What are you doing? Like, what's this all about?" He goes, "Oh, I'm streaming right now. I've been streaming. I've been streaming all across the country. In my car and all that stuff, and we've been streaming, and this is our destination." I said, "Wow, where are you streaming this? This is all wireless. Wow." He said, "Oh, we're on Justin TV." Justin TV. That would end up becoming Twitch. But back then, Justin TV was invite only. So I went home. I said, "Dude," I told Anthony and Mike, I said, "We've got to find a way to incorporate this into our nightly broadcasts." So I went home. I started looking through all this stuff. So Justin.tv. I went there. I put in our request for some streaming credentials. And while I was waiting for that, I found Ustream.tv. And it was still small, and it was really awesome. The live casting was just starting then. And that's why I met Brad Hunstable of Ustream. And we became such good friends. We had a lot of fun on Ustream. We got a lot of preferential treatment, and we were able to do a lot on there. We were whitelisted for so many things. We got to watch full movies and make fun of them. And it was a lot of fun back then. And I really hope I can get Brad on the show sometime and do a little reminiscing. But it all started on 7707 in New York City. And I was probably around, what the hell was I? I was 21. I had to be about 21 years old. I have a picture of that somewhere. I think we only took like one picture that day. I'll show them to you. Anyway, Janky says, "Frank, did you watch the Back to the Beginning concert for Ozzy Osbourne? What did you think about the performances?" Oh, I did see it. I did. Lizzie Hale sounded great. I always liked her at Hailstorm. We saw her a couple of times, and Anthony went on tour with them. Sammy Hagar. What's he, like nearly 80 years old? And he's hauling ass like he's 50. I got to give him credit on that one. Steven Tyler, he found a way back, apparently. I thought he was done, but he did pretty good. So I guess his voice recovered, or he's in extensive therapy or something. Slayer killed it. They sounded great, although I was upset to see that Dave Lombardo was not on the drums. Metallica finished strong. Tool's probably the best sounding. Tool sounded incredible. They sounded incredible. They're awesome. Guns N' Roses, they have a new drummer. They have a new drummer who is on the money. But Axl, it just doesn't sound good anymore. And listen, I know you get older, your voice changes, and he's put it through a lot. But maybe I don't know. Maybe he does therapy and coaching. I don't know. But there has got to be some other way to perform without leaning on this Mickey Mouse sounding falsetto voice. There's got to be another way to do this. But physically, Axl Rose lost a good amount of weight, so he doesn't look like Ann Ramsey anymore from the Goonies. So that's good. Otherwise, Ozzy sounded good. He had one last show in him, and Mama, I'm Coming Home was pretty deep, and I don't know. Mr. Crowley sounded good. Anyway, those are my thoughts on that. Okay, so now listen to this. On July 3rd, I was sitting in my living room, and I went to go. I took a shower. It was around midnight. Got out. It's about 12:15 or something, and I said, "You know what? I don't want to go to bed yet. Tomorrow's the 4th of July. Everybody's sleeping. Why the hell am I going to go to sleep right now? I don't need rest." So I looked around. I said, I need something to watch. And I had been meaning to watch Poop Cruise, this documentary on Netflix. I'd seen it up on there on Netflix going in rotation. Then Krista, my producer, said I had to watch it. So I said, okay, I got to make, I'm making time for this. And right now is when I'm going to do it. It was less than an hour. I said, I have to watch this. So I go and I put it on. And I remember this story. This was when that Carnival Cruise became disabled and completely paralyzed in the Gulf of then Mexico in 2013. And I remember it. I know we covered it on Zadals in New York, but this documentary was produced to bring our understanding of this disaster to a whole other level. Now, everyone is obviously having a great time. They're in the Gulf. They get to Mexico. They're on the way. They do their thing. They're drinking. They go to shore. They're on the way back home. There's a fire in the engine room. All the power cables are fried. There is no way to bring anything back. The cruise is completely disabled. It's out there in international waters or whatever the hell it is. Now, I'm not going to recount every detail because it's going to take away from the hilarity that will ensue when you watch it, if you do watch it. Okay, but the whole point of this, of calling it the poop cruise, is because one of the more serious elements of the fallout of this electrical, blackout over there at sea is that there is no way to flush a toilet. So you have about 4,500 people floating on as they described it, a skyscraper laying on its side, which is what these cruises really are. 4,500 people, and they're being instructed to urinate in shower drains that eventually stop draining altogether, and to go number 2 into red biohazard bags, and to collect and dispose of them on their own, either put them outside of their room or whatever the hell else. All the air conditioning is gone. It's whatever, this beehive floating on the water in the Gulf. And it gets to the point that even toward the end of the rescue mission, when they're getting tugboated back to Mobile, Alabama, every time the ship rocks, whether there's a storm or something else, I mean, you just have all of this human waste that's just sloshing around the hallways and down the stairwells. It's outrageous, but it happened. And so I wanted to bring this to you guys because I wanted to hear about vacations that have gone hilariously wrong, or any other gross predicament that you found yourself in, which took years to be able to laugh about, perhaps. And we're going to expand on this topic a little bit. It can just be general plumbing disaster stories. I don't know, blackout stories, whatever you want to say. But here's one thing for me. The lines are open. You can call in on this one. I got freaked out the next day. I got freaked out on the 4th of July. I was tending to everything that I had to do that morning. Straighten up the backyard, made sure that the grill was scrubbed down and everything was good. I'm tending to that, setting up the bouncy castles for the kids. I'm setting up the pools for the kids and all that shit, circulating, being a good host. Stuff I like to do. It was a great day, really. But in the late morning, we were inside and, I was preparing the coffee urn, the 30-cup coffee urn, to make sure I can bring that down later on in the day. As we were filling that up, we realized that the water pressure was lacking by like 50%. The pressure in the sink had dropped about 50%. Lauren's like, well, you're filling up the pool outside, and there's some clothes in the wash, so maybe that's it. I said, no. That's not going to diminish the water pressure like this. And after a little bit of head scratching, we found out that a water main had broken in town, which is okay. We can deal with half pressure for the rest of the day or whatever the hell it is, but the water kept getting weaker as the day went on. And by 4 p.m., someone at the party reported that there was no water coming out of the sink faucet at all. Now, at this point, I should just say that the water came back about an hour and a half later. But I'll tell you, I am less than a day. I'm like 12, 15, 16 hours removed from watching the poop cruise. All right. And in that entire hour and a half of not knowing what the hell was going on with the water, I'm doing math. Now, I don't have 4,500 people there at the house. All right. I have about 45 people at the house. But I'm also doing the math and say 45 people, X amount of kids. I only have 2 toilets, and maybe there's 2, 3 flushes left before that ends too. You could say, well, Frank, you just get a bucket of water, you put it, how am I going to fill up the bucket? How am I going to fill up the bucket? All the hoses, everything's done. There's nothing there. So I'm thinking about 45 people I think one of the funny things about that is there too is, we do everything we can to try to keep our dignity. But we're just animals and we pee and poop constantly. And if you got a couple dozen people together for a few hours, you better have working facilities for everybody to dispose of their waste. That's all. We're constantly producing stuff. And I just thought that was hilarious. As well as I was freaking out a little bit. I said, oh my gosh. I went to some of the guys too, like Mike May and other people there. I was like, none of you have to take a shit, right? You better hold it. Because I don't know how many flushes we have left. I started walking up to certain people at the party who I know I can speak frankly with. And I'm just like, listen, I don't know how many flushes we have. I don't know how many flushes we have left. You've got to just hold it. He's like, I'm good. I'm good, bro. Okay, good. So I'll let you know if anything changes. I just want to make sure that the children they have fun. So this is what was going on here. Let's take a call. What is this? Dominic, go ahead.
Yeah, how you doing? I was just wondering if you guys are going to be having Tim Alberino on anytime soon.
No, I don't have him on the schedule right now, but I'd love to have him back sometime before the summer ends for sure.
Awesome, man. Yeah, no, I was just wondering about that. So.
All right. Well, you can always just check the calendar on quitefrankly.tv. Thank you. Anything else you want to say? Any vacations from hell? That's the topic right now.
No, that was it.
All right. Thanks. All right. So vacations from hell. What else do you have? Let's listen to some of our thoughts here. The first one comes from Steve. Let's hear Steve.
Hey, Frank. So here's my vacation from hell. Took the family to Alaska last summer, and we booked I think it was like an 11-day trip, which included 4 or 5 days of land going to Denali National Park, and then followed by about a week cruise through the Inside Passage. And started out fine, made it to Alaska, only to find out that the national park was closed due to forest fires for the first time in 75 years.
No.
So they flew us up to Fairbanks, which was the only place that they could find us a hotel room because all of Alaska was booked because the park was closed. So everybody was crammed in everywhere else. There's really nothing to do in Fairbanks. So we sat there for 3 days hoping the park would open, which it never did. Then we had to ride a bus about, 800 miles back down to where we caught our cruise. So missed the entire land package, then got on the boat. And about 3 days into the cruise, our room flooded during some routine plumbing maintenance.
Oh, no.
So we had totally soaking wet carpeted floor, and then there was apparently sewage backing up in the bathroom. Couldn't find us another room, so they basically came in and tried to clean and dry everything up, only to have it flood a day later. Still no other rooms, and finally got us into another room. And then about 2 days later, 3 of my family members got hand, foot, and mouth disease, which we brought home. That's it.
Oh, the cruises. I'm telling you, man, I have no interest. I had a little bit of interest in college that quickly went away. And we were talking about this on Saturday. No, on Friday. I did a 4th of July. No. It was on Saturday. Yeah, it was a Saturday afterwards. I did a little bit of a coffee stream when I got back from my workout on Saturday morning. And I was there in the kitchen. We were talking, just, making coffee, spiking it with keto brains, all that good stuff. I'm sitting there and I said, I thought this poop cruise thing was going to be about that one time I read about norovirus running through this cruise. That was, they had to stay at, docked at the pier. Nobody can go on, nobody can get off until everybody had run its course. Everything had run its course and everybody was done just, getting sick and all that stuff because they didn't want to bring it onto shore or anything like that. And to my surprise, and now I know better, I went looking for that particular story thinking it was unique. And what I found as I was looking for this story about norovirus running through this entire cruise, maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, something, it was probably docked in Florida, whatever the hell it was. I couldn't even get past 2025. There was something about the Queen Mary 2, but from April of 2025, that norovirus had ripped through the Queen Mary 2. And then later on in that very same article, I read that this was the 25th case this year in the cruise. I don't know, just, that whole world of, cruise ships and everything, people taking vacations and other type of excursions on cruise ships. 25 cases of, massive amounts of voyagers, people who are just out there just giving each other viruses. Said, oh, to hell with this, man. I was beside myself. I didn't realize how frequent this stuff happened. I thought I was looking for like some kind of a unique, severe case, but apparently this happens. I don't know. Maybe it's up this year. 25 cases, 25 stories in 2025 alone. But nuts. Hand, foot, and mouth disease, though. Well, that's it. Steve, that sounds like a Wally World kind of a thing. But all that time. Here, this one's from Blonde Sweetness.
Hey, this is Blonde Sweetness. I'm calling about the Vacation from Hell story and when Southwest crashed that December, that Christmas. And we were in Houston and stranded in the airport, and we sat there for hours and hours and hours, and nobody told us anything. Then finally we went up to the terminal and was like, hey, when are we taking off? We got a 5-year-old. And then they said, oh, Southwest has crashed. Nobody's leaving. So all the rental cars were taken in the city. The U-Hauls were taken. Finally, my dad lent us his car and we did a road trip, and we had tickets to Disney World that were super expensive and non-refundable, even though Disney World's hell on earth. We lost all our money with that. We lost several days of vacation because we were driving instead of in Florida. So yeah, there's our Vacation from Hell story. And we did stop in New Orleans, and it was like a hellscape, zombie apocalypse. So there was that. Anyways, love all the Franklies. Stay strong. Bye.
That's it. No hand and feet and mouth disease. That's why I feel like road trips are probably the best bet, because the entire thing is just up to you. Imagine that, losing all those days, having to ride. Where is she from? I think she said the Southwest, the American Southwest. So she had to get to Florida by car. Well, 216, you're on the air. John, you there?
Actually, John's next to me, but this is Chris on the phone from Ohio.
Oh, Chris and
I just wondered,
Chris and
if
John.
you had heard. Yes, we're in the same household.
Okay.
So I don't know if you heard Benjamin Fulford this weekend talking about Trump having a fake Trump, and that the real Trump is in Cheyenne Mountain with Melania being protected.
Oh.
And that this Trump is like trouble. This is the evil double Trump. And that you can't really believe anything that's going on right now for at least a couple weeks until the real Trump comes out of Cheyenne Mountain, which should be in like John said, 2 weeks.
What is he, a groundhog?
I don't know. I guess there's like extra security in Cheyenne Mountain.
Yeah.
So I just thought I would put that out there.
Okay. And
Benjamin Fulford.
Benjamin Fulford. Okay. What is he, a preacher or something like that?
Well, no. He's actually very well connected, and especially with the Chinese families. He's up in Canada right now. He lives up in Canada, and he keeps saying that he's going to be taking over Canada from the United States instead of the other way around. But anyway, Benjamin Fulford's been around a long time.
All right. Well, this will be very, very. This will be like Superman 4 when he has to. The evil Trump and the good Trump are going to have to do battle, I'm sure, at some point. You can't just have.
Yeah. And actually, what was it? Leo Zagami tried to kill him or something?
What?
He says that Leo Zagami tried to kill Benjamin Fulford years ago, so he's got no use for Leo Zagami.
How did he try to kill him?
I have no idea.
Oh, I
really
need to
don't
know. I need to know. I would love to, because I'm in my head. I don't know what it is. Would Leo Zagami be the type to poison a cannoli, or would he be, or would he be the type to just like to stab you in an alleyway? I don't know, but I feel like with his accent, it would have to be like pronounced so he can use his accent, and it'd be really dramatic before he kills you.
Yeah, he'd probably put you on a pizza.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for this call. I needed this. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right.
Bye, Frank.
Okay. See, there you go. So the real Trump is in Cheyenne Mountain. This is what I need. I needed those calls. This is what I want, guys. I want those theories. I want that inside information. Not the real Trump. It's the evil Trump. There would have to be a confrontation. No. And talk about the vacation from hell when you have to get holed up inside of the interior of a mountain while your bizarro self is out there running the country and covering for Jeffrey Epstein or something like that. There has to be some sort of a face off. No. How is that going to be rectified? Anyway, I needed that. I really did. Okay, let's take a call. Vacations from hell. 440. You got a vacation for hell?
Yes, Frank. Hey, this is Andrea Stover again, calling back again for the second time tonight.
Andra, thank you so much. Go ahead.
Okay, so really quick. So back in 2022, I went to the National Federation of the Blind conference in New Orleans, and we had to follow all this protocol because for the past 2 years it had been canceled due to COVID. So I'm following all the protocols. I sent in my proof of negative testing on the Tuesday night before leaving, and I even wore a mask, did the social distancing, and the conference I was there for a week. And the third day in, after I left this cafe, we went to go get beignets somewhere, like a sweet donut taste in New Orleans. And I said, oh man, I'm feeling really tired. I said, I'm not really feeling the best. I said, I think I'm going to just go back to the hotel and lay down.
Oh no.
And it just literally seemed like within hours, I said, wow, okay. I had plans to go to a really cool, I guess, like restaurant type deal where it's like a circle and it revolves or whatnot, like a circle, and I said, and we were going to do this boat ride, a trip the next day and whatnot. And I said, I can't do it, guys. I can't do it. And I was rooming with two other roommates, and my one roommate, I felt bad for her because she was like scared like so much. I don't want to get it. I don't want to get it. I don't want to get it. And the other roommate, she goes, oh well, if I get COVID, I've had cancer, that's cool. But I thought it was really funny. So I tested positive by that night, and I spent like the whole 2 days in my hotel room, like as sick as a dog, like not even able to move. And it was just the most pain I ever had. And my friend even had to she was packing my suitcase the night before we had to leave. And I was like, thank you so much for packing. I'm just too weak to do it. And she's like, oh, no problem, no problem. And then I had all these thoughts in my head as I'm laying in the hotel room because my other friend and the other friend, they went on this like a boat cruise in Louisiana. She goes, I feel bad we're leaving without you. I'm like, you guys don't leave, don't feel bad. I said, just enjoy it. Don't, what else are you guys going to do? I'm here, I'm sick, and the morning we woke up, we had to leave at like 4 a.m. And she was like, okay, here, look at me. She goes, okay, well, let's see. Just try not to look sick. And I'm thinking to myself, God, please don't let them don't let any of the airport security be like, you don't look like you're feeling well. We're going to have to, I had all these envisions in my head of me having pay to stay more nights in the hotel. And it was just, it was awful.
You were only 3 days in though, at that point, 2 days. This was the start of the third day.
Yeah, I was on, it was like,
man,
3 days in. Yeah. And it was,
you probably got a lot of people sick. You probably got a lot of people sick flying around that tube of toothpaste in the air with all that recycled air, and you're only at the start.
Oh my God, I know, right?
Jeez. This is the one who did it, everybody. It was Andra. Here we go. This is the super spreader we got coming over here. Oh man!
And then it was just oh my God, I was so glad when my hand touched my doorknob in my apartment when I was finally back home. I said, "Oh, I'm so glad I'm home." But then I
Well,
had to like obviously call my job and tell HR, and then I had to lose another
yeah.
10 days of work. But
Oh, I get
anyways,
you.
yeah,
Then you have to call
that was
Fauci and let him know that you were the one that spread it to half the country. All right.
there. You go.
Well,
All right, thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, Andra.
Bye,
Well, yeah,
everyone.
that is something that sucks. Any vacation or any trip that you get sick in the middle of it, and all of a sudden you're there in a hotel room that you were probably hoping you'd spend a couple of nights kicking back and getting some room service. Oh, it's been a long time since I've been in a hotel and had a room service. When was the last time I had a room service? I don't know. 2008? Something like that. There's nothing better. No. Well, Lauren and I had pizza ordered to we used to go on Groupon. And in New York City, a lot of really awesome 5-star hotels would put these great deals on Groupon. And every once in a while, we'd see which hotels were giving away, really awesome suites and stuff like that for half price or something. Which, like, hey, you want to go? You just want to go and stay somewhere? And there was one night. It was probably like I don't know. It was around my birthday. We got this really nice room. And we set up and we watched it. We were there for like a Game of Thrones premiere or something like that. And we actually had pizza ordered up to the room. That was actually from the pizzeria. It wasn't from the kitchen. The kitchen was closed. Nothing like room service. There really isn't. But then again, if you're sick, then you're sick. And that sucks. And I would have never been able to get myself to go to the airport. I would have never been able to do it. Day 3, the beginning of day 3 of whatever the hell COVID was. Even if it's just a regular flu, which it probably was, the beginning of day 3, the end of day 3 is usually when you start saying, okay, this might be my last night with fever. I can feel it just about to break. And you wake up the next day and you got the aches and you're just sluggish, but you left a nice big puddle on your bed and the fever's gone. You're like, all right, now I just got to deal with everything else. But at least I'm not going to have the fever dreams. Anywho, let's see. Katie Sky. Let's take a listen to this one.
Hey, Frank and Franklies. This is Katie in Texas, and I have a nightmare vacation story for you that took place in New Braunfels, Texas, and then later on in San Antonio, which was quite pleasant afterwards. But several years ago, my young adult niece and other niece, they were both young adults at the time, invited me to said niece's birthday party, her 22nd birthday party, and we were going to float the river, the Comal River in Texas, and then go visit, San Antonio overnight and, hang out on the Riverwalk. So we had a beautiful day floating down the pristine, clear, crystal clear waters on the Comal on a beautiful, perfect, sunny summer day. And everything was great until my niece's boyfriend got insanely drunk, too drunk, and started spewing his completely full stomach all over himself in the river.
Oh.
And we thought, okay, no big deal. It'll wash away. I hope he feels better soon. But since we were floating down the river, the vomit floated right along with us for miles and miles until we reached the end.
You're floating for miles with this kid's vomit. Because you're going the same speed as the vomit. I guess you could have found the river bank and just kind of gone to the side and held on and just let the vomit go. Just wait a couple 100 yards. But that sucks.
So in essence, we were floating in a river of throw up until we reached our final destination. But luckily after that, the rest of the evening turned out well after we all showered and cleaned ourselves appropriately. And we had a good time for the rest of my niece's birthday. Love you all, quite frankly.
Well, that's fantastic. I love it. Well, I mean, the river of vomit. I'm sure much worse has floated in that river. But that sounds nice, like an actual lazy river. That's not just made completely of child pee at, wherever the hell it was. But we were at, we were staying at what the hell resort were we at in 2021 when we went down for the Dark to Light extravaganza the first year? What a great year that was. 2021, it was nuts, but going down there was great. But me, Lauren, and Aurora was only 11 months old. My gosh. And we're walking over the deck, and we can see underneath this little area covered up was a small little lazy river. And I looked at that, and I looked at all the kids in there. I looked at Lauren, I said, that's 150% pee. That lazy river is 150% urine. And she said, ugh. I know. So I'm itching from over here. Not going anywhere near that shit. And I used to love lazy rivers when I was a kid too. Whether we went at like Myrtle Waves or something in Myrtle Beach, or what are the other places that had really great lazy rivers? And there's ones that have a really strong current as well. Where going against the current actually takes a lot of takes some leg strength. But if you can guarantee that the lazy river is not full of urine, I would like to go in again one day. That would be nice. Just kind of float around on a tube. But public pools, I would never go in one ever again. ST says, it's so special that your mom joins our chats. I miss my mom dearly. Makes my heart smile to see your mom in our chat on YouTube and how much she supports you, Frank. Yeah, she's wonderful. My mom's wonderful. And yeah. Oh, she'll be at the she will be at the Jamboree, I'm sure, with a lot. You want to know who here? There are a lot more names that I have to I'm going to tease you guys with. But here, for those of you who are coming to the main event on the 6th, or both nights, for the VIP has both nights, but everything that is there for the main event, that's the main event. Here's what we have so far. I'm going to be giving you a little bit more. We got Mel K. I'll be talking to Mel soon. Top Lobster and Raven of a Nephilim Death Squad. They've already booked their flights and stuff. Zoso Dude will be there. Reverend Bill Bean, King 40, Tony Black and the fam, my fam. John Ward. Robert Phoenix just told me today he is going to be joining. He's going to be attending. He said, no asterisk. I'm going to be there. Robert Phoenix. Of course, Matt will be here. Sal the Butcher will be here. My brother Anthony. The whole studio crew. There's Jay Gulinello, of course. And with Jay Gulinello is his two premier chefs who I have had the great honor of actually there's Jay Gulinello. Shut up, Frank. I've had the great honor of meeting Chef Nick Antoni. You're going to be eating from an assembly line of nose to tail organic goodness. It's going to be so good. We're going to have panels. Not a lot of panels. You're not going to be sitting around listening to things, but there will be a little hit of this, a little hit of that, a lot of socializing. It's going to be a lot of fun, light entertainment. And you can find all that on quitefrankly.tv, the events page on quitefrankly.tv. There's still a few dozen of those main tickets left, and you're going to have a good time because now I've got 2 months to work with my small, enthusiastic, and very smart crew to make this memorable beyond belief. And the fact that we've already sold out of all the VIP tickets is astonishing. Really is. I can't wait for that. So there you go. Hang out with all of your favorite characters from the show. All right. Let's see here. You know who we're gonna let's go through the super chats real quick, and then we're gonna call up Molly to see who won all of that amazing products. Stove, thank you for the cookies over on quitefrankly.tv. And let me see. What else do we have? No, that's all good on Rumble. And Stove also tipped on Quite Frankly, superchat.com. Great Tuesday, Frank. Thank you. Stove's going to be there. He got one of the last VIPs, actually. I'm so excited. You know what's crazy? And I'll probably tell whoever's here that night, too. Most of you out there, 98%, whatever you know about me and what I've, your experience with me has taken place in this room. since 2015. There's very few of you that knew anything about this show prior to moving into this this studio. And the fact that a nice amount of you are going to be able to actually be here, and then everybody else, the greater group is just going to be about a block or so away, and it's going to be in a wonderful spot in a historic building. The just the history of the theater itself is incredible, and we're going to be in a wonderfully historic building, and it's going to be a great time. And I just can't wait to spend all that time with you guys. But we've got a lot of broadcasting to do until then. So let me give let me see here. Let me give our friend a call. Where the heck is Molly? 1 second. Man, there were so many phone calls tonight. Damn. I got through a lot of them, though. 1 second. I'm doing so much scrolling over here. We're almost there, guys. There she is. Okay, here we go. Let's call up Molly from KetoBrainz.com.
8056.
No! Give that away? Let's try her again, shall we?
8.
Hold on. I just tried calling. For some reason, it didn't work. Can you call me? 914-200-0269. We'll see what happens. See, this is why you do things live, and sometimes it's a toss-up. I don't know why that didn't work. I mean, I don't know. Oh, here we go. Molly, you there?
I'm here. How are you?
I'm all right. Thankfully, I didn't just dox you. I was trying. I was like, no. Stop right there. Oh man. Hey, how's everything with you? I know that you're in the middle of a big move. That's very exciting. This is a very big year for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. We are on our final leg of getting the hell out of California, and we have to go back to California once more tomorrow, but we're getting our house ready and our jungle of a yard ready and trying to run the business and ship the orders and set up new banks and pure chaos that requires lots of keto brains, to be honest.
Well, you know what? Let me ask you real quick, because I have had entrepreneurs who are very close to the show. They have come on to like, for example, my good friends Pat and Gina from Blue Monster Prep. They are a survival prepping company. They've been an affiliate of the show for many years, and they escaped California a few years ago as well. And when they called in to give us the update on that process, they described what was a little bit of a nightmare scenario of California almost not allowing them to leave and putting all these extra fees and almost like trying to like pull rank with them, that you can't take our money away kind of a shit.
So fortunately, we're not big enough yet to have worried about that. But if we were a couple more years into our business, so my understanding is there's kind of like, they start watching you when you reach a certain amount of revenue. And if you're someone they're making a ton of sales tax off of and a ton of money off of in other ways, then they try to say you can't leave, or if you leave, then they're going to continue to tax you. And I was incredibly afraid of that. I wanted to get the business out of California as quickly as possible. And we did that. And one of the things we just went through was very quickly switching business banks, because our California bank said we could keep them until we were ready to move from them. And then we get a call like, hey, we see that your LLC for California has been canceled. And I was like, yeah, we told you we were moving to Montana. She said, well, we have to close the account. And I said, well, what about this thing that we could have kept our business open, or a business account open for a minute to give us a moment to get Montana up and running?
Right.
And the only way to do it was to add it was like a second incorporation where we were like doing business as a foreign entity in
Ridiculous.
California still.
Ridiculous.
And I was immediately like, I want no ties. I want California to have no ties to me. So no, there's so many ways that they kind of try to keep you in. And then there's, man, I'm going to forget the name of it right now, but I was afraid that we were also going to have to remove every person we work with in California from our business, because if you have too much of a percentage of people that you pay for anything in California, then they try to claim, they try to make it such that they can continue to tax you. So it's been a thing, and we wanted to get out sooner, but my man, he works for the DOD, or did. He was offered a verified early retirement, which allowed us to get out permanently now.
Well, I'm
instead of
happy.
going back and forth.
I'm happy for you. Everybody who's been able to escape never has any regrets, especially from a financial standpoint. It just, you lose just so much of your year's labor to nonsense.
That was the massive thing. When I was still working for someone else, which was up until last year, if I did a contract for $10,000, I took home $5,800. It was insane.
Ugh.
It was just insane. So there was no getting anywhere. So we were very happy to be out.
Well, then cheers to prosperity and new frontiers. And I'll tell you one thing, everybody that I talk to on this show and this audience, I will continue to give people samples and pay for it, because I know they're going to love Keto Brainz as much as I do. But other than that, we have to introduce, there's a lot of things that we have to introduce. I found a segue into a couple of things that I wanted Jay Gullinello to talk about that I know you know something about as well when we talk about peptides and bioregulators. So I know that we have some really great talks coming up soon. But for now, I would love a couple of things out of you. Number one, I want to do the who's the winner of our Independence Day gigantic raffle. Let's see who this is.
So our winner is Angela Bernheisel, if I'm saying that correctly. Angela, Bernheisel.
Wow. And Angela has won the vibration plate and it's a
whole body vibration plate, which sounds ridiculous, and I thought it was ridiculous till I tried one, and I'm in love now. A bottle of our BPC 157 from the sister company that my brother started, which is just phenomenal for speeding up the healing of old injuries, new injuries. I don't go a day without it. You get 2 bags of Keto Brainz coffee, electrolytes, a jar, a spoon, a hand blender, and probably a t-shirt and some other fun stuff. I'm going to add as much to that prize package beyond the $300 that I can.
Well, I mean, that's just incredible. Well, it's incredible. I'm happy for the winner. Angela, you said her name is?
Angela Bernheisel.
Angela.
And I will I'll reach out to her. I should have her email in our store from her order.
Okay.
So I'll also reach out via email to give her the good news.
Okay. And then here, one last thing. There was some sort of an update on, because you've had, I know that I've seen at least 1 or 2 inquiries in the last couple of weeks from people who watch the show in Europe. And obviously there is, I feel so bad for people, because even just our Canadian neighbors who want to try any of our affiliate
and
stuff.
Australia.
Canada, Australia, to ship even something that weighs a little bit more than an ounce is like you have to give up an arm and a leg. So, but there's been some sort of a breakthrough as far as how people in Europe can start.
Yes.
What is this?
So we have a wonderful partner that started out in Norway. This is a company called Superstate, and they have a site with all sorts of the best biohacking tools. And we've been working with them for about 4 years now. And at some point, they wanted to expand into the entire EU. To do that, we had to create, obviously, an EU perfectly regulated bag. and supplement panel, but we also had to swap out one ingredient, which is just as effective. So instead of alpha GPC, the European Union product uses CDP choline, same benefits. And our partners there have agreed that your listeners and followers can use either Frankly Plus or Frankly to get 20% off of Keto Brainz from their site. They ship from Sweden to all of the EU. And they've also agreed to include Salty, the electrolyte, in that. Salty is actually their product, which we sell for them in the United States.
Okay.
So, yes, so you can go to Superstate and use those codes. And I am working with our partners in the UK as well. We have a local company that ships from there. Just ketosupplements.com. So we're working on it. I don't have a solution for Canada or Australia yet, but I'm working on it.
Okay, you know what, everybody out there, if you're from from anywhere in the European continent, just get in touch with me if you want. And I'll pass the link along and all that. I'm glad to hear that and I'm glad to see that people are finding workarounds for how ridiculously exclusive the global marketplace has been for stuff like this. You know, I mean,
it shouldn't be.
I know, especially for stuff like this.
It's insane, you know. And if there's anyone out there who works with or knows of anyone who uses a U.S. forwarding company to get product for wholesale to other countries, we're always looking for the right partner for Canada and Australia, but we just have not found anyone who already uses a US forwarder, because it's kind of it's not a sneaky way to get it in, but until you're selling large dollar amounts, small companies can bring in small amounts of wholesale product to resell. And that's kind of how we've started in the countries that we're in.
Okay.
So just if any of your listeners have that knowledge or know a person, hit me up. Going to try to get Keto Brainz to your country.
Yeah, and so much more too, because like I said, when you come and join me and Jay Gulinello for a quick correspondent hit on things like peptides and bioregulators, from what little I've been learning, I needed to bring everybody in for this conversation because it's pretty mind blowing, and I'm so happy that you and your brother have been getting in on this with a new product line. So I just want to learn more, and thanks again for calling in tonight, and what a generous giveaway for Independence Day. Thank you for that.
My pleasure. Have a great night, everybody.
Take care, Molly. There goes Molly from KetoBrainz.com. KetoBrainz with a Z.com. If you become a sponsor of the show, you always get samples sent to you, and you get a recurring 20% off code and all that other stuff. And Molly, I just want to thank her again, because obviously she gives so much to people. That was very generous. That wasn't just like, hey, I'm going to give away a bag. I mean, that's like $300 plus worth of stuff. And she has given so much to Jay and I as far as contacts and everything else to help make this upcoming Jamboree in September possible. Introduced us to essentially all of our new sponsors there. We have Yes Cacao and Coffee Revolution, of course, that have come on, but we've met Pluck through them, and Verso and Dulsa and Signals, and they're all incredible companies, all health related. And if I ever bring on any sponsors, I like to stay in that range, health and longevity. So thank you guys for everything tonight. It's 9:03. That's all. All the super chats are in. I'll be getting more of your emails about vacations that never were and have melted down in one way or another. But thanks for playing the game tonight, guys. And I'll see you tomorrow night. We got RJ Williams on. It should be a pretty interesting evening. We're going to be learning about Bible study, atheist Bible study. A man who dove into the Bible and consumed it cover to cover, time and time again, to try to disprove what was inside of it, and instead came out a believer. That's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow night. I hope you guys are ready for it. Have a good one. Thanks again for everything, my friends. Be well.
I'll catch you on the flip side. Goodbye.
All right, that's it. Thanks, everybody.
Will you shut up?